Well, we begin tonight with that investigation you will see only here on 7. Good evening to you and welcome to 7 Action News at 6. I'm Carolyn Clifford.
And I'm David Llewellyn. Thank you for joining us. Troubled cops allowed to remain on the force even after their departments say they should be fired.
This is happening in police departments all over the state. The case is oftentimes making big headlines with growing calls for police reform across the country and here in Metro Detroit. The 7 investigators went digging for answers to find out how this is possible.
7 investigator Ross Jones joins us in downtown Detroit tonight. So Ross, how is this happening?
Dave, Carolyn, good evening. Their departments thought they were bad apples and moved to fire them, but arbitrators gave them their jobs back.
There is systemic injustices that we must address.
In this city and every city, calls for dramatic changes to policing in America are growing louder.
This is a system that needs to be broken down completely and completely restructured.
And as cities grapple with how departments should change, we're looking at the system that allows troubled officers to stay on the police force, even when their own departments don't want them. In 2015, the Detroit Police Department moved to fire Michael Garrison for shooting a deer in a public park, then providing false statements to investigators. But he appealed his firing to an arbitrator who decided Garrison should just be suspended instead. He got his job back and stayed on the force.
Walk of shame.
That was until 4 years later when a racist Snapchat video surfaced showing him and his partner mocking a black woman whose car they had just impounded, using filters that said Black History Month and Black Girl Magic. Garrison was fired, again. But police commissioners like William Davis say he should have stayed fired the first time.
In this state in general, in the city of Detroit, the police unions are very strong and very powerful.
Through their union contracts, officers in Detroit and elsewhere are entitled to appeal terminations and other discipline to an arbitrator. Critics say it allows troubled cops to stay on the force and commit more bad acts.
Police officers should be held to a higher standard, not a lower standard.
Officer Dwayne Jones was caught on camera repeatedly punching a combative, mentally ill woman in a Detroit hospital and pleaded guilty to misdemeanor assault. Jones stayed on the force and was soon eligible for a promotion. Detroit's Board of Police Commissioners voted 9-0 to block it, but an arbitrator overruled the board. Jones got the promotion anyway. Arbitration relies heavily on past practice. In the case of Sergeant Jones, he was eligible for a promotion because years earlier, a different officer with a similar disciplinary history had been promoted too.
The other thing that a lot of them try to harp on is past practice. And that's what we have to lean toward, is changing these practices.
In 2018, Michigan State Police fired Trooper Ethan Berger. He was involved in the death of Damon Grimes after chasing him in this ATV, allowing his partner to shoot him with a taser. MSP said Berger violated their roadblock policy, lied to investigators, and filed a false police report. They wanted him fired. An arbitrator decided to only suspend him.
I don't think arbitration is the problem.
Jim Tiganelli is president of the Police Officers Association of Michigan. He says arbitration allows employment disputes to be resolved without clogging up courtrooms, and points out that both sides have to agree on which arbitrator will decide a case.
I hear too often that unions are only here to protect bad cops. And I resent that because the fact of the matter is a bad cop makes all of our guys work a little harder.
Trooper Dan Thompson was fired in 2017 following this traffic stop where he pulled over what turned out to be the son of a county sheriff. After the trooper found marijuana in the car, he placed a call to the sheriff and said this.
I'm willing to do whatever make this go away, man. Just between me and you.
MSP said the young man admitted to selling marijuana, but Thompson wrote he was arrested for possession. State police say Thompson lied to investigators about the arrest and tried to fire him, but an arbitrator gave him his job back.
Does a cop calling another cop offering to make something go away sound like a cop we should be employing?
It does if you're the guy who's on the other end of the phone. It happens. I don't know enough about it.
But is that okay?
He's got discretion, and that's what the law says.
Don't get me wrong. Police officers have a very thankful, very difficult, underpaid job. But you know, when we had bad actors, you know, there should be some consequences.
Now, the Michigan State Police Troopers Association declined comment for this story. The Detroit Police Officers Association did not return our calls. We should add that Officer Michael Garrison, the Detroit police officer who had been fired twice by the department, he is trying yet again to get his job back through arbitration. We're live downtown tonight. I'm Ross Jones, 7 Action News.
Ross, so I have a question for you. Can police departments fight an arbitrator's ruling, or is that just the bottom line?
Well, in theory they can, and in very rare instances they have, but there is an extremely high bar for them to actually be successful, so they usually do not fight them. But some members of the Board of Police Commissioners are saying we need to start fighting these, even if we think we aren't going to win, if for no other reason to send a message to police officers that we do not endorse this conduct.
All right, so maybe changes are coming. All right, Ross, we have Ross Jones's investigation on WXYZ.com. There you can find a deeper dive into his other investigations into troubled officers on the force. Dave.